All right. Good afternoon on a Saturday. I am here, Delisha E. Brown, aka Mrs. Brown, for everyone that doesn't know me. I'm here today with my lovely friend, Danielle
Mhm.
Foster Lee. We'll
Yes.
get to that. I like to make sure I mention Mr. Lee so he knows that
Absolutely.
I respect and honor him for being your husband. Amen.
Thank you. Amen.
Today we are talking about um, sisterhood and dating. For a
Mhm.
second there, I thought I heard an echo, so I'm sorry. That's why I
That's okay.
paused. Everybody's like, "What's going on?" I'm okay. This is live. This is what happens here. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about my friend Danielle. She's a self-proclaimed Southern belle, like yours truly. Okay, I'm Georgia, you're Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
Um, Southern charm. She's used her Southern charm to captivate any platform that gives her the opportunity to share her life experiences and motivate others on this amazing journey of life. And that's what she's going to do with us today. She's born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. So if y'all hear
All
that
right,
Southern
Little
swing
Rock.
come out, you'll know where it came
Yeah.
from. She relocated to Los Angeles to reprise her dream of acting after receiving her bachelor's degree in mass communications from the University of Conway, Arkansas. As a Christian woman, she is determined and faithfully pursuing her place in Hollywood and hopes to solidify herself among other legendary African American actresses. Welcome, Danielle.
Well, thank you
Yay!
so much, Delisha. I am so excited to be here, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be in the place. So thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Well, let's thank everybody for joining in Facebook and
Yeah.
YouTube and
Thank
Instagram.
you guys.
Thank
I'm
you
so glad
all,
y'all
and
are
make
here.
sure you're dropping where you are today, where you're located, and then also, if you have any questions, just put them in there or comments, anything that you would like to add to our conversation. So, as I
Absolutely.
mentioned, we are talking today about dating, sisterhood and dating, right? So for the people, I know your journey. I know a little bit more about your journey in recent conversations. And
Right.
I don't know how long we known each other now, but maybe 5 years. I don't know. That
Mhm,
sounds like a
mhm.
good number. We'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with
Um,
that.
so tell us a little bit about your dating journey, Danielle.
Oh my gosh. So I relocated from Arkansas to California, LA. And when I tell you the dating scene is really different. It's a big difference. I want to tell you all right now, just from my personal experience, LA surrounding areas is one of the worst markets to date in. The worst.
And
So
that's
when you're
facts too. That's
it
facts.
is okay, right,
I
right,
got
right.
receipts on it. We'll get to that later. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I am a witness to it. Very hard out here, but I did come out here not looking for love. I was looking for my career. But as time passed, I had a yearning to be married and I wanted to find my partner. And
Hmm.
when it got to that point, I found out how hard it was and how much I needed to be ready. But I want everyone to know no matter where you are, it's possible. I'm a witness to this. Like, I've always joked around that my husband would be in LA. And
Hmm.
I say that because I said it with my mouth. And I did believe that a little bit, but there took a
A
lot of
little
work
bit.
to get a little bit. I believed it a little bit. But it took a lot of work to get to where I am right now. But the thing that I want to, just definitely put out there, it's possible. It's possible. You just have to take the action. But I made it happen in one of the worst markets in the United States. So if I can make it here, I'm sure anyone that wants to, they can make it happen anywhere.
Yeah, and I put the link up on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's posting to Facebook, but
Mhm.
it's a list of all of the best and worst cities for singles. And LA came in at 85th.
I believe it. Like, I have no questions. I cannot argue with those numbers. I do believe it. It's true. It's
We
very
have
bad
had,
market.
and I lived in Los Angeles too, so we had some interesting dating experiences. I want to get
Mhm.
to you dated how did you meet people when you were dating?
Okay. So, I was more traditional when I first moved out here, thinking, oh, if I go out to bars, if I go to
Mhm.
the grocery store, I
Right.
might run into someone and meet the love of my life, which I do think those things still happen. They work. But that didn't really work for me. I wasn't meeting what I really felt was ideal for me. So one of my good friends, and if she made it on here, her name is Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, for encouraging me to
Hey,
date online.
Michelle.
Yeah, hey Michelle. So I made that choice. I had did the online thing before, but like I said, I kind of had these mixed feelings about it. Ooh, I don't want to meet no stranger online. It's
Mhm.
dangerous dating online. I had all these thoughts in my head, these negative thoughts about it. But she encouraged me to give it a try and really actively date online. So that's what I did. I started to actively date online. I was on multiple platforms, and I'm a big supporter of dating online. I think it's something that could still work. It does need to be the correct platform, and you do need to have some standards and some boundaries in place that work really well when you're attempting to date online.
Mhm. So you were on so you did multiple sites
Uh,
and you did I mean multiple sites, apps, all that,
yes,
and
yeah,
you dated online because Michelle encouraged you to. So
yes. She
you had
encouraged.
one of your fellow sisters that encouraged you and had positive she had a positive experience, I'm assuming?
Well, she
Or
had positive and she had negative, but she
mhm.
still wanted to do it that way. And so she just encouraged me. She said she felt that it was a better way for her to meet people. It was a better way from her to cut some things quickly without actually being in person and meeting the person. And that's what I liked about it. And I told her, you know what? I never thought about that aspect, that I can actually talk to someone before
Right.
I actually meet them. Because sometimes when you meet someone before you even get to know them, you find out right then, like, there's no spark, there's no connection.
Right,
I'm
right.
wasting his time. He's going to be mad that he paid for this dinner for me. So I think it can be a win win situation for the woman as well as the man.
Awesome. I want to pause, give a shout out to my man, Mr. Brown. He's saying hey to us,
Hey, Mr.
hey to us,
Brown.
Danielle. So thank you, babe, for joining. And he's an expert in this whole singles game and going live and doing lives and talking about dating. So we
Hmm.
may need some of your manly advice in a minute. But anyways, thank you for joining. But also, I think from my personal experience with the online dating, similar to yours, you get to vet faster. I think
Hmm.
vetting is essential, like, because when you are in person, like you meet them, you may think that they're so attractive. And so you're
True.
blinded to like everything.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
so anything saying to you that may be questionable, we talk about red flags and yellow
Right.
flags. So
Right. Right.
the yellow
Right.
flags look like, that could turn green. And you keep talking, like you're just like, I'm mesmerized with his eyes and the way he talks or whatever. And actuality, you're setting yourself up for failure. But the vetting
Mhm.
process goes better when you're online. You get time to read messages, you get time to respond,
Mhm.
you get time to think
Mhm.
about it,
Mhm.
as well as talk to multiple people. What is your idea on because people say dating and then some people get offended. My husband always says a man's not really with you unless he asks us to exclusively date you. Like,
Mhm.
um, how can women protect themselves, I guess, more emotionally when you are online and we're all talking to numerous people?
Two things that I had to learn really quickly, and whether you're dating online or not, but if you decide to date online, two things that I had to learn was to be able to speak my truth and let that individual know what my purpose is online dating. And sometimes I didn't get the response I wanted. I would get ghosted because I told the truth. But I had to learn and appreciate that ghosting or that truthfulness when someone would tell me, you know what, I'm not sure how soon I'll be ready for marriage. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I just want to, I just want to date, maybe talk, and maybe that happen. That didn't match up with what I stated. So you got to stand in your truth, or like they say, you have to stand on business
Oh my
when it
gosh, I'm
comes.
so tired of the stand-up business, but yes.
Well, we gonna
We
say
got
it
to
so
stand on
so
business.
everyone can
Yeah,
understand. Even in
stand on
dating,
business.
you got to stand on business. And sometimes when you first start to do that, because I know some of us, including myself, we're guilty because sometimes, like you said, we can be led by attraction, and we're like, okay, he might not be ready right now, but we can still talk on the phone. I can still go to coffee, even though he already told you he's not interested in what you're interested when it comes to dating with a purpose.
Yeah.
You got to set that boundary first, that standard. So that's the first thing I remembered is being okay with telling my truth and telling what I really want, and being okay with accepting the response and moving on quickly. My cut game was weak, but as I kept dating, oh, my cut game got strong.
Girl, I had a strong cut game.
Yes,
Like,
you have to work on cutting it off. If you can tell, it doesn't take a lot of time with conversations and doing
mhm.
emails and things back and forth with that guy or girl. If it's not in line with what you have set up for yourself, there's no need to continue this conversation. It's not being mean. It's
Right.
sticking to what you said you need and you desire for yourself. So yeah, that cut game and standing on business of what you need and want from a partner.
Yeah, standing on business. I was going to say the statistic. They said the US Census Bureau said that 57% of single adults aren't interested in a relationship or
Mm.
casual dating right now. That's
Mm.
amazing. And the
It
other
is.
47% of the adult population is unmarried, meaning they're never married, divorced, or widowed. But that many people aren't interested in relationships. So why do you think that's the case right now?
That's so scary to hear, but I just can talk about my circles and that I'm in. I see plenty of women that definitely want a partner. They want to have a relationship with the hopes of being married. So I
Mhm.
think there's a lot of things that would affect those numbers. Honey, inflation, first of all, money. It does cost a lot of money. That's another thing in dating that we have to consider from a male's point of view. Depending on the type of woman and the type of man you want, money plays a huge part in dating when you're first dating and you're trying to vet if this is a person you want to have as your partner or with the potential of being your husband or wife.
Mhm.
So that right there alone, it costs a lot to date women, and it's levels. You know what I'm saying? So it's levels to us women. Some of us, we may not need a lot from men when it comes to money. We may not expect a lot when it comes to going out. Don't get me wrong, you should have standards, but
Right.
let's be reasonable with our standards as well.
Yeah, and I think some of the standards aren't really standards. They're just preferences that women are making
That's
up.
true.
Like if you
Hmm.
you pick this restaurant you've never been to that's a five-star restaurant, and this is this guy's first time meeting you, and you're like, "This is where I love to eat." Like, stop lying. Thank you all on Instagram for joining. I'm sorry I didn't give them a shout out, but yeah, I think, and then also as women, I think men have to realize too, it does cost for women because women are
Hmm.
often
It's true.
makeup alone is $1 million. You may not have as many clothes as you want. He wants to take you somewhere nice. You may have to buy something. You may have
Oh, and
to.
let's not forget about the hair.
Girl, I ain't
Now,
even got there
in our
yet. The
community.
hair, the hair, a regular hair appointment in Atlanta is about $100.
Hmm. And
Um, period. Like so.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
that's it. You don't want. You're not getting a style. You're not getting a color. You're not getting nothing done. You're not even getting it trimmed. It's just $100. So it,
Right.
it is expensive to date, and that's why a lot of women, and we encourage that too. Here is that we want sisters to take care of themselves and love yourself and do well, do something for yourself,
Mhm,
not for
mhm,
dating. So then you
mhm.
won't be in this, oh, I spent this money or I did all of this
Right.
um, scenario. But it does, I want just for men that may listen to this or watching that, it does cost for women as well.
Mhm,
And then if you do the whole splitting the bill thing,
mhm.
let's talk about your story on that. Because I was going to
That's
transition to
a
worse
touchy subject,
touchy subject. But see, my
splitting the
sister is
bill.
healed, and so I can laugh with her now in this story. But it is, your worst online dating experience. Share that with the people.
Okay. So I met this gentleman online, really nice guy, good looking. I was looking forward to meeting him. But I will tell you, and I know we'll probably circle back on this, I wasn't really ready mentally or spiritually for dating. I really wasn't. But I was so, I was so anxious. You know what? I was thirsty. I
Uh-oh,
wanted
talk about
that.
it.
Yeah, I wanted that companionship, even though at the time I didn't realize how much I wasn't ready and how much work I needed to do. So this will backfire on you when you don't put in the work in yourself, because that's what it starts with to me.
Mm-hmm.
When you're ready to date, it starts with yourself. So we made plans to meet up. We met up at a happy hour. It was a nice happy hour place, and I can't remember the name, but it was in El Segundo. So it was nice. It was a nice place. So we went, conversation was good,
Mm-hmm.
everything was great. It was time to pay. So he paid for my food. And I will tell you, for me as a woman, I'm pretty cool on that stuff. I don't mind when we're going out if I need to pay for something, especially if I don't know you. I don't know you like that. This is our first time meeting. It wasn't a dinner, it was a happy hour. So
Yeah.
I decided I wanted another cocktail. So I didn't want him to pay for it. I'm going to pay for my cocktail. So we're having a good time. We're laughing. I put my card up there. The lady comes back. I'm sorry, your card was declined. I said, huh? And she said, yeah, your card was declined. At the time, I had the money. So I don't know what happened, but I think the bank was like, girl, you don't go to places like this. So we gonna make sure
Fraud.
nobody out here scamming and stealing your card. So I was like, can you try it again? Because I know I had money. Back, girl, this was years ago. So back then we really didn't have a lot of banking apps on our phones.
Right.
So I
And
could
they
check and
were
see what
glitchy.
was
Yeah.
going on. So she came back, she was like, it's declined. And he was like, don't worry about it. I got it. Just put it on my tab. I can take care of it. So I was super embarrassed, but I was glad he had enough money to pay for my extra drink.
Right.
So after we're done with that, I'm so nervous and I'm embarrassed. So, and at that time, we're walking to the car. As soon as we walk to the car, I'm like, I hope he doesn't walk me to the car, because I forgot that I had trash bags of clothes in my back seat, because I
Uh-uh.
volunteered for Love My Neighbor Foundation in LA. So I had clothes in the back for donations. But if you've ever been to LA or live here, you know people live in their cars
They really
sometimes.
do. They really
And
do.
that's exactly what I looked like. Like I lived in my car, girl. I was so embarrassed. My card has declined. Now you come into my car. I have
All
all
this
these
stuff in
trash
here.
bags in the back. But I will say he was a perfect gentleman. He was nice. He did reach out to me the next day. I just knew he was gonna ghost me and he
He
wasn't
probably
gonna
trying
talk
to
to
make
me.
sure you all right.
That part, where you living? Did you sleep okay through the night? But it was so embarrassing. But you know what? I think it was something that was needed, because it put me in a place where, girl, you're not ready. You are not ready for this. You need to focus on yourself and really get yourself in a place where you can step out there with confidence. Because I wasn't, and I remember I wasn't even confident on that date.
Mm,
Confidence to me plays a key part in dating
a
as
major
well.
key role. Right.
Yeah, it does. So, with all of that said, that's what helped me get to a place like, okay, we know this is what you want, but are you ready? And if you're ready, are you ready to take the steps? But girl, that was the worst. And it wasn't even the man. Usually you hear about, now I had bad experiences with
Yeah.
men, but I wanted to put that out there about myself, because a lot of people don't realize how it's definitely a thing that you need to be mentally and spiritually ready for.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And I know we've been
Mhm.
talking about that. And that's why I wanted to kind of end our series about singleness and self love and dating, all for the month of February, but we're in March because February was too short.
Right.
I do want to shout out Erica and Shaniqua. They've joined on Instagram, and all the
Hey,
other
Erica.
people, Ren,
Hey,
Rachel, all you, Diva, everybody that's on Instagram. Thank you for joining and
mhm.
commenting. You can't see those comments, so I was just
I know I
letting you know.
can't
But
see them, so
so
don't
they have
nobody get mad.
fire. They got fire. They're saying that, saying hey to everybody. So I'm
Hey.
glad that people are joining in, and that as you're hearing our vulnerability and our stories of
Mhm,
dating online,
mhm.
one thing one of the experiences I know when you were saying, we were talking about earlier about the cut game, and your cut
Mhm.
game was weak, mine was mad strong, probably too. And some of my friends, like Ren, she's on here. She probably would think it was too strong. I wasn't giving nobody
Yeah,
grace,
that could happen too.
grace, no grace or mercy. Okay, it was like
Right.
you said one thing off, you said one thing off, and it was over. Like I was talking to a guy one time. I said, I don't like his voice. I don't put your
Oh.
voice down. It's like, I didn't tell him that, but I'm saying that for me, I was just like, I can't deal with this. Like,
Mhm,
let
mhm,
me
mhm,
go out. And the thing is as you mentioned about having confidence, when you have that confidence in yourself, assurance of who
mhm.
you are, you really take less and
Yes.
you require more. And so some
Mhm,
guys see that, and some guys see that as a challenge, as an opportunity, and some
mhm.
guys be like, I don't have the time, like,
Right.
she doing too much. I'm not trying to do that. But I think what you said about dating with a purpose is essential. And so that's why my online game, um, and I wouldn't even say my online dating game was really long. It was more so happening during the pandemic or after the pandemic, kind of during that
Mhm.
time, because we couldn't go nowhere. And for all of those who don't know, California was like on lockdown, lockdown. Like we was in the
Mhm.
movies, like shut down, shut down. You get in trouble for going outside.
Right.
Um, Street lights came on, everybody was in the house, not just the
Mhm.
kids. So you had to do online dating because you trying to meet people, you trying to do something. You out here bored.
Right.
So um those I did meet a lot of great guys, as you stated before. They were gentlemen. We were just on two different levels and different paths. And as you
Mhm.
said about being spiritually connected, that's why I feel like if we are so connected with God, it helps us with who we are and then also how we date. Um,
Absolutely.
because people, you may be in the church and they say, okay, well, you're courting, but before you court, you have to know people, and we
Mhm.
date them. And we do that. We date everybody, really. We date our friends too. Because when you meet a
Mhm.
homegirl, she's like, oh, let's go and get coffee. And you're like, okay. And you go
Mhm.
on that coffee date, and that determines if you're going to ever talk to her and be buddy buddy with her, or
Absolutely.
I'll just see you at the next networking event. Like,
Mhm.
we do it with everyone. But when it
Right.
comes to like guys or relationship style, we have seem to have more scrutiny and more of
Mhm.
um, so I don't want to say it's a standard, but just an opinion of what we should be, how we should be treated, and how what we should be doing. But I feel like if you do that as a part of your life, your lifestyle is
Mhm.
that you're being nice.
Mhm.
Like, you talk to everybody. I mean, you be in the room with everyone. You be on the street. We was on the street together talking to people, but you was serving the
Right.
people, and we would serve our uh, unhoused friends, right? I like to
Mhm.
call them
Mhm.
unhoused friends. We served
Unhoused
our unhoused
friends.
friends, and Danielle was the evangelist. Danielle, she would start off with prayer on the corner, and I mean, you talk about getting 100 or something people in line. She's like, "All right, we go pray," and they'd be like, "Yes, ma'am." We prayed before we get in this line and start passing out the food. So that impact is just who you are. It's not just in a dating environment, I think. And that makes people
Mhm.
more
Mhm.
attractive, honestly. As women,
Mhm.
we make ourselves more attractive by being totally in love with God, totally in love with ourselves, that confidence.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like, this new norm, everyone wants to be soft.
Yeah.
I didn't I think I told you before, I didn't know when we start being hard, but
Well, you know what? I am guilty of. I like the idea. I know sometimes it gets a negative, what's the word I
connotation.
want to use? Yes, that one.
Mhm.
But there are some good things about that because I recognized in me before I started dating that I was missing some softness because
Mm,
I dealt with some men that required some hardness before I started really dating. But
right.
you're right. We are in a new era where you're seeing softness, feminine energy, all of that, like in your feeds, your Instagram, everywhere. But I do think there's some things that we can take from it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it's a negative thing. I think that the independent era
Oh yeah, I was
What
in that era.
everybody's song that was in exactly. We grew up in that. We're all independent in the club and all this
Mhm,
stuff and don't, can you pay my bills? And we
mhm.
going from paying your bills to independent. It made no sense. But anyways, but this whole idea of everybody wants to be a boss chick. And so
Mhm,
you are being a boss chick, and then you're missing your king, or you're missing quality
mhm,
relationships because you're so aggressive. And I get it, like being a
mhm,
woman in corporate America, being the woman that's
mhm.
been a teacher and being a woman in leadership roles, you do have to be like, okay, I'm playing no games. People will look at
Yeah.
you and try to take advantage. So you have to know the pros and cons of that, but then you
Mhm.
also have to hey sis, that's my sister right there, Loretta.
Hi.
So you have to take your time, and then you also have to be wise about that, right? Like, it's
Mhm.
not saying that you can't be 100% you in your leadership role, but when you're not a CEO on when you're dating, okay? Like,
Yeah.
let's
Right.
not be let's
Mhm,
not come in there like this is a corporate meeting. Now, what is
mhm.
your credit score? What are you doing? Da, 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 da. And so I say that because I feel like I've had the same thing experiences as you. Like, I've had to be hard because of
Mhm,
experiences that I've had with
mhm,
different guys, and just with the world in general. Being a black
mm,
woman is
mhm.
hard. And so a
Very
lot of
hard.
things you don't get done unless you put your foot down, and then unless
Mhm,
you stand up for yourself. And it's like, if you speak
mhm.
up, it's like, oh, she's about to she's about to go off. And you're like, I'm just
Right.
standing up for myself. This is normal. I'm not going to let you
Mhm.
try to manipulate me or run over me. So I think it's
Absolutely.
a balance, but I also believe that women can be more feminine and be more soft when they're around um, godly men
Mhm.
who know who they are, who are those kings and leaders, and they're like, uh, "You're easy, rest easy, because I'm here." You know what
Right.
I mean?
That's a good
And
way to
is
put
when
it.
yeah,
Mhm,
when you don't have, so it's both of us. I want to
mhm,
balance it because I don't want to get on one side where it's all women. We're not
mhm,
here to bash men,
mm-mm,
and we're not here to break down women either. But we
mhm.
want to encourage women and men, especially Black men and women, because this narrative on the internet will tell you that we aren't getting married, we aren't staying
Right,
married, that we don't
right.
really like each other. We're only married for
Mhm,
business purposes. You have a million
mhm.
dollar business, I have a million dollar business. Let's get together and be an Instagram couple
Right.
and make
Mhm,
and make this
mhm.
$1 trillion business. Sound good to me, like,
Yeah.
and that's not what we're here for. Hey, Mahalia. Hey, Sabrina. Sorry, I'm trying to shout people out. It's hard because I got two
That's
screens here,
good.
guys.
I
But
understand.
yeah, it's just you want to make sure that you are being 100% who God called you to be. And I feel
Mhm,
like that makes you soft, and that makes you feminine,
mm,
and that makes you
mhm,
attractive, because
mhm.
most men, if you speak to them, um, they were attracted to something other than uh, her beauty that made them want to
True.
marry them
Mhm,
and make them
mhm.
want to stay with them. Like, men have watched, I don't want to, I'm in Atlanta, so everything ratchet. But anyway, so, you know, ratchet reality television, like, that's funny, and you're acting like da 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 da, and I'm gonna go off and curse
Mhm,
somebody out. Men are laughing at me like, yeah, yeah, haha. But they're
mhm.
not they're not thinking of you as a wife.
Right.
Like, you, in their eyes, you're not even that. They're just,
Mm,
you're this person.
mhm,
And they're
mhm.
separating it. So I think understanding, like you said, you wanted to be married, but it's not even just being married, that you knew you were a wife. And when you
Mm,
know that you're a wife, then you know that you need to be positioned for your husband to find you. So it's
absolutely.
not, if it wasn't Mr. Lee, if it was someone
Mhm.
else, it still was your
I
husband
was
has to find you because you were already
mhm,
a wife
mhm. Still a wife. Mhm.
at the end of the day. Same for me. I'm a
Absolutely.
wife. And so
Mhm.
when Mr. Brown finally found me in these Atlanta streets, then now Mrs. Brown,
Right,
so
right.
it just makes sense, like, you um being who you are, being 100% feminine, 100% woman, you never have to change from that. And I understand why they're encouraging that, because we got away because of that independent movement. But
Mhm,
we still
mhm.
work to kind of contradict ourselves. You can have your own, you can have money, you can do all of that. But when you understand the importance and value of marriage as a partnership, you
Mhm.
think differently. You can
Mhm.
encourage that man to lead. You can um, help him with whatever needs he needs to be that best leader.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
I
and so it's look at my husband. He's like he'll mind a tad bit ratchet though.
I was just, I was thinking that in my head. You know, they can like a little bit of this and a little bit of this, but they
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
wipe
yeah,
this.
exactly. And the thing is that because the wife have it all.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
I'm not confirming that I'm ratchet. I'm just
Oh, yeah.
saying the wife
I'm
has
not
it all.
asking any questions.
The wife has it all, and they know that, so that's why they wifed him.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the end of that story. But the next thing, what advice would you give to those women who are single and actively dating right now, um, who are currently, looking at the media and the things that we see in media is like a mess.
Yeah. I want them to be encouraged. And if God has put that desire in your heart, that means it's possible. I believe that. But you got to block out the noise. You got to get
Mhm.
focused on you. You are not looking for a relationship with social media and what they have going on. You got to focus on you and what you desire. I definitely say get prayed up, start focusing on yourself, and no, and I mean really take a look at yourself and be realistic with yourself about what
Right,
you need to work on and what you're looking for. I think sometimes we can be unrealistic. I know I was. There were some things that shouldn't even been on my list of things that I wanted from a man, or it was things that I was like, Danielle, are you being appropriate in certain situations? Is
right.
this how a wife reacts to things? Is this how she
Mhm.
talks to her man? So my advice is to be realistic and know that it's possible, but it's going to take you taking work on yourself first and being realistic about your goals. I mean, there's so much going on right now with every woman, and I'm going to bring this up, money. Every I see on social media, I watch a lot of things online. Especially, I watch this dating show called Kendra G. It's really entertaining to me and my husband for us to see what women are wanting on there. And I will tell you, there is so many women, because especially black women are out here making a lot of money. They're being
Yep,
very
they are.
successful.
Mhm.
But the pool of men that they're looking at, they may not match up when it comes to that income level. So I know there's a lot of women out there that's looking for six figures or more from a man, but you got to be realistic. It's not everything that you just think in your head. You need to do your research. Like you mentioned, those markets. Where do you live? Do you have a big pool of six-figure men? And
Right.
you know that. And then how many women just like you want that too? So you need to be realistic about what it is you want, what it is you bring to the table, and you want them to add to it. So it's all about taking some accountability, being realistic. And if you know you're not taking action and all you doing is sitting on the couch, looking at Instagram, on Facebook, waiting for somebody to get in your DMs, because they definitely not showing up at your door, there's
Right.
time for you to take some action for yourself and really put out a plan. We work on getting our degrees. We work on
Mhm.
getting that promotion on that job. Just like anything else, is this is something you really want? You're going to take the time out and invest in it. I see that comment, Mr. Brown. Thank you. I appreciate
You
that.
you really are gonna take the time to invest, and then I think that you also need to realize that, you as you stated earlier, you just may not be ready to date, and it's okay.
And that's
And that's
okay.
why I think the number for 57% of the people who participated in that survey said that they aren't in a relationship, not even looking for
Hmm.
casual dating because
Hmm.
we are at a time, this is post-pandemic. A lot of people are like, what am I need to be healed from? They're focused on their
Hmm.
mental wellness. And
Hmm.
that may not include dating at the time.
Right.
We talked about being healed of different things. And so I'm going to put a plug real quick. This
Okay.
segue perfectly. My husband's new book. My husband's
Uh-huh.
book, How to Get Over a Breakup,
Oh, that's a
A
good
Guide
one.
to Healing and Restoration. This is out. Go to tamelbrown.com. But I wanted to read this quote because it says, we have to take responsibility for the poor relationship decisions that we made. If there are
Amen.
always serious issues in the relationship, it's time that we take a deep look in the mirror at ourselves and change. You might
Mhm.
be trying to figure out what's the problem, but you might be the problem that needs to be solved.
I was
Drop
her.
mic.
Yes,
Now
I
that's
was her.
it. The book is tamelbrown.com. Y'all can order this.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
This is my signed copy, not giving this away.
yeah, you definitely
Uh,
need to order that because it's so true. If you don't take accountability for those past relationships have a lot to do with where you are right now. Absolutely. If you're thinking about dating, if you're not dating, just look back at some of the relationships you worked with. They really do. They really do make a difference on how you view everything. And
mhm.
are you healed? Some people don't, sometimes you don't even know that you're grieving. You don't even know that you're
Yes.
hurt. You
Mhm.
know, it's so many factors that you have not addressed because we're just going on with life. But you won't, and like that incident that happened to me on my horrible date is because of past relationships, things that I was
Right.
healing from and needed to heal and learn from. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. That was a
And
good
I would
quote.
say, I feel like you've been very transparent and vulnerable with your dating
Mhm.
experience. I've never, everyone knows that my private life is private.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
why everybody found out on the internet I was married. But anyways,
Some of
and
our feelings was hurt.
it would have been even longer if it wasn't for Mr. Brown with his social media fans, um but like it's just the idea I think of even getting there, of that journey, is like I had
Mhm.
to get to a place, in the same thing with online dating, like as women, as beautiful black women that we are, we haven't had a hard time getting the attention of men, right? Like it has
Mhm.
been a slew of those.
Yeah.
And then narrowing it down to even good guys. But it's
Mhm.
all, I would think someone said one time, are you are you getting with good men or godly men? And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, because,
Mhm.
sometimes we want to pray people to salvation. And
Amen.
it's like, baby, I need you to already know him a little bit or something, like.
Right.
And that doesn't work. This the evangelistic dating, people call it, right? Like, I'm gonna
Mhm,
get him
mhm.
saved, or you gonna get her saved, and it's like, I don't know about all that. You getting people
Right.
saved, so that when you're on that journey, even, and then other things that need to be healed, like I've talked about my relationship with my dad, and how
Mhm.
we wrote a book about our story, so I'm not gonna go into that, but Letters from the Heart, and it's just those things needed to take place in order for me to really be healed. Like certain things, I
Mhm.
feel like we're all continually healing, right? Because no one's
Right, we
perfect.
are. Mhm.
But some things need to be like healed before you get
Amen.
with someone else. And
Mhm.
like you said, learning from those past relationships with your parents, you may not see
Mhm.
certain things a certain way. And you're like, wait a minute, this is a problem for me. This is like a trigger, because when women do this, I'm getting upset and I don't know why. And it may be something that came from your mom, or when men do
Mhm.
this, I'm getting upset
Mhm.
when something came from your dad, or the absence of your dad, or whatever. So I
Right.
think it's important to heal. It's important to make sure your mental wellness is key to dating, because dating is, like you said, it is, you got to be strategic, you got to plan this out, you got to, I don't
Mhm.
know how organized. I'm a project manager. Some people are real organized and they want an Excel spreadsheet of who they date and all
Mhm.
that. I'm not
That's my
saying do all.
husband. He wants an
Right,
Excel
right.
spreadsheet.
He's like, "We're
I
going out
got
with
a
Danielle on Monday. I'm going out
right.
with." Right.
No, just a tad bit. He told me the other day, I made a spreadsheet for your grocery list so you could just plug in what you need to get when you go to the grocery. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Right. You're like, "What in the world?" Hello, Tony and Ursula. Hi, how are you guys? I haven't seen you forever. They're joined on Instagram, and Rakita.
Oh, hello,
Hello.
hello.
Yeah, getting people out the woodworks here, but it's just, those are important things, that would be my personal advice. I don't want to feel like we just
Mhm,
pick a brain here, but I will share certain those things is what I think is important when it comes to
mhm,
dating. Get healed, let God lead you, have a
Mhm.
strong cutoff game.
Mhm.
But and then lastly, I would say have fun. Like
Yes.
you are going dating for an experience. If you're going dating for,
Mhm.
um, say you're going rock climbing, right? Like
Mhm.
I like rock climbing, but say if it's something you've never done before, you're the rock climbing experience was still fun. Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? You may not ever go out on a date with this person again, but hey, I got to rock climb. Like, I've
Right.
always been a person who likes activities, and even when me and my husband were dating, we did a lot of active dates. A
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
going. It wasn't a bunch of movies and eating only. We always go eat because I'm greedy, but
Me too.
it's
Me
right.
too.
We food has to be involved. Whatever else we
Mhm.
do is
Mhm.
optional, but food better be
Mhm.
involved. But yeah, so when you're having those type of experiences, you're having fun with it. When we take
Right.
it too serious, a lot of times women date with purpose, and we be so like, because the way he prayed over our food didn't seem like he was just seemed like he was like husband prayer material. Like, girl, what? And then guys are kind of like, I asked her these questions. She seems like she's really into money. Her finances may not be
Mhm.
right. Her credit score may
Mhm.
be suspect. Instead of looking at it as maybe I can help her get her
Mm.
credit better. And then maybe as a
Mhm.
woman, you're looking at him like maybe he doesn't know about these job opportunities.
Mhm.
You can do the same thing you're already doing. Yeah, they pay twice as much in this industry for the same exact thing. Is that
Mhm. Mhm.
exposure, but sometimes we don't wanna heal together, and that's the last thing that I would say is that once you're healed, um, I don't know if I put this comment up here already, but once you're healed, you want to make sure that you understand that you're giving grace and extending grace to that person that you're
Mhm.
partnering with, and you are
Mhm.
healing and growing together. That's what
Absolutely.
marriage is kinda all about, right? But
Mhm.
so many of us want to be perfect, and then we want to find perfection, and then we don't want to grow. So when you come together, ain't nothing to grow because y'all already perfect.
Mhm. And another thing, we try to use that as an excuse. I need to be healed before I meet him. I need to have this in order
Yep.
before I meet him. Oh, I want to have me a house before I meet him. All these requirements that you put on yourself before you meet him or her.
Hmm.
No, like you said, it's important that you can unify and grow together and heal together. And I mentioned to you before, the healing process, it doesn't end overnight. It's something that is going to continue and continue, and it's something that both parties can work together on. I
Right,
absolutely agree
exactly.
with that.
And
Mhm.
having an effort to making an effort to heal together.
Mhm.
And another thing that before we wrap up, because I love to mention this all the time, is learn how to communicate while you're dating.
Mhm.
When you were out here talking to people and going on dates, and that's a standard that I had. Like you talk about a strong cut game. Like if you gonna text the mess out of me and I told you that I don't like texting, goodbye. Because you're not number one, you're not hearing me because and you're not
Mhm.
reading. You're not reading because
Right.
you're only texting. You're not reading. Your reading comprehension is off, and you're trying to get me to get into your world. It'll be different if you
Mhm.
have like my husband, he worked late at night, and y'all know I'd be going to bed at 9 o'clock. So like when we first started talking, I would be like, "Up, I can't talk to you after this time," because I was going to bed because I have to
Mhm.
get up in the morning. But it would still be like he make an effort to text or try to call when he gets off at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
putting forth an extra effort, and so you have to make that work. But we could have easily been like, oh well, like
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
times just don't link together.
Right.
Like, all right, peace. It was nice knowing you was cool. But
Mhm.
I as we became a couple and I was exclusively dating, I made exceptions and say, okay, well, I can
Mhm.
stay up late today. I don't really have to get up early tomorrow. Like, but I
Mhm.
wasn't doing that when I was just getting to know you because I don't know
Right.
you like that. Like, why am I sacrificing staying up to talk to you? Because this time works for you. So it's just you have to communicate that. And I think
Mhm.
the more you're learning how to communicate with people and have hard conversations, I've had guys I dated and told them, this is why I stopped dating you. I didn't just ghost them. And
Mhm.
it was hard for me to get to that place of not ghosting because it's easy to ghost. You just be like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not
Mhm.
even worth a statement. Like
Right.
it's
It
not even
is.
worth
Mhm.
telling you. And that happens. Sometimes it's not worth reaching out. But
Mhm.
sometimes you want the best for that person. So you're like, look, you're great, but this will help you in the future.
Mhm.
Um, you may want to call girls that you're interested in, or you may want to text them more than once a day or something, like
Right.
give them some type of advice. And I've had guys come back and say, I appreciate you. At the time, I didn't, accept or like
Mhm.
your comment,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
also appreciate you telling me because no one had ever
Mhm.
told them at their
That's
big
true.
age. But hey,
Mhm. Hey.
sometimes it's like that. But that's all for my communication part. Do you have anything else that you want to add? I see this is a hot topic, so that's why we 45 minutes in because usually people are barely saying nothing and then
Yeah.
you but when you talk about dating, everybody want to know the tea and what
They wanna
happened.
know.
What's
They wanna know. So, I would say stay encouraged. I don't believe in that hitting a wall and you're not gonna be able to meet anyone. Be encouraged, and know that it is possible that it can happen for you. It will happen for you. And there's gonna be those moments where you get discouraged. I mean,
hmm
there was plenty of moments where I second guessed myself, like maybe I'm not wife material.
mm,
Maybe I can't do this. I'm not gonna meet anyone here in LA,
mm,
maybe and preparing myself for singleness,
mm.
But I knew that wasn't my true desire. I knew what I
Right,
really wanted. I wanted that partner, that life partner, that husband. I wanted what God had for me and what He put in
exactly.
my heart. And so I had to keep pushing. And I'll say it again. I know it may sound like I'm repeating myself, but just like anything else that you want really,
Yeah,
really bad, you put in that work for it. I mean, when
put in
I
the
went to
work.
school to get my degree, I put that work in it. When I wanted that promotion at my job, I put the work into it. So, what makes it different if I want to be seen in a space as a wife? I need to put that work into becoming that wife for my husband
And stand on business.
and stand on business. That cut game. And like you mentioned, the hard conversations, those hard conversations in the moment, they are hard, but they lead to really good outcomes. They can really,
Yes.
some of those hard conversations can save your life. So you have to build up that, I call it the muscle. You got to build that cut game muscle, the hard conversation up. And I will say is I want as much time as possible with my husband. That's how I
Yeah.
thought with my dating. So I don't have time to waste on someone that is not my husband because I want to get to him as soon as I can. And I want to be able to have as much time as possible being his wife. So those are the things you definitely need to take into. And like I said, like you put work into school, get you some books. Like the book you just
Yeah.
suggested for your husband. You got to get
hmm
the knowledge too. Some things I did not know, and I had to find it out from a book. I had to do some
Right.
research. Find you some married friends. Talk to them.
Yes. Talk to the
Find you
married
some
people.
married people. Hear what they have to say. They can tell you about what it was like before, and you really want to know what it's like now. Okay, when it comes to marriage. So yeah, I just really, really, if this is something that you really want, I have a right now, I'm still early in the game in marriage. I've been
hmm
married going on 4 years, but when I tell you it's such a good thing that I want all my sisters to have it. That's how
Right.
good my husband is to me. That's how good God has been in our relationship. God definitely shows marriage favor, and I've seen it in my own
hmm
life. So I know it's worth the wait, and I know it's worth the work. And you'll be so thankful that you read that book, that you spent that money, you went to a seminar, you went and spoke with somebody like Delisha. Putting all that investment into you, what you really want, it will definitely pay off in the end. Put in the work, girl. If you lost that weight, look at it just like that. Put
Right.
in the work. It's just that simple.
Right. Just like you take your hair vitamins every day for your hair and skin. Y'all
You
putting
go get
that
your
work in
nails.
to get them
Hey, you
long
go get
locks.
your
Like,
nails and feet done every 2 weeks. You
right.
got the money for it. You know you're gonna do it. Hey, put that energy into your dating life.
Yeah, and you want to be pretty on the inside as well as the outside. So put the
Hmm.
same amount, if not more, energy the book that she's talking about is tamelbrown.com. Go to there, and that's my husband's book, How to Get Over a Breakup, A Guide to Healing and Restoration. Gael said, work those muscles on
Work them.
Instagram, work those muscles, dating. And then you're continuing to work those muscles when you're married, because you don't stop dating each other. We don't know everything about each other. We're still learning, and we're still changing and growing and developing. So you still need to have those conversations. And something that my husband always says is like, our dating process to some people may have been quick, but it's pretty average to all the people that I know who've been married for a long time, is that you had the hard conversations early, and you have the hard conversations as soon as possible.
Right.
And you want to, because that helps you know what you can get through with this person, and how you're going to be as a team, and how you would be, as a team married together. Hold on a second. I have a yes, society and the church. This is a comment that someone wrote on the other screen. Yes, society and the church has said that married people and singles shouldn't mix, but how are we to learn?
Absolutely.
And they said that's the truth. Don't ignore that. Yes, and I agree, because if we're single, we're supposed to learn from married people. And when you start transitioning and seeing yourself as a wife, you navigate and become closer to married women, and because you're learning that new behavior. Not saying that I can't be friends with my single friends,
absolutely.
but also just trying to make sure you're being more focused on that, because the singles are dealing with the podcast era where everyone has an opinion and everyone's right. Everyone's right because they have a mic, right? So like, no, you're not. Like, so you're listening to opinions and calling them facts and then standing on that. But I told you the facts, that there's a lot of people, and against odds, even with Danielle being in a state that is coming up as 29th or something on the list of dating, that she still was able to find Mr. Lee. And we both were able to go be on dates, like if we wanted to, every week when we were in LA. It wasn't a short of dating opportunities as much as it is as finding your person.
And quality.
Yes, quality. Quality over quantity.
It was a lot of quantity, but it was very little quality.
I mean, little. My friends are funny. They tell me I love hearing you say husband. Hey, Miss Frida, thanks for joining. I can't. These are. I'm not gonna say every comment. Okay, but yeah. So I think
one thing I just want to say, but isn't this a beautiful sight to see that you have two sisters here that are saying we're married, and the statistics would say we're not. So we're out here, and it's happening. Yeah, and it can happen. It can happen for you. It's definitely.
And we're two Southern belles who used the online dating and actually got married. I would, honestly, online dating was like the last option.
Me too.
I didn't think that I would, and even though I did it because I was told, be open, have fun, do all this stuff. But I was never thinking that I would meet my husband on there. I was like, I'm just doing this. But my husband's gonna be at Publix, at Ralph's, at wherever the stores, I'm trying to say California grocery stores, somewhere like that. He's gonna be a Whole Foods somewhere.
And that could still happen for someone. We're not knocking traditional ways to meet.
No, not at all.
No, but we want you to open up the way you can date. Okay, don't exclude this. Give it a try. And like I said, you're not gonna, when you start dating online, depending on what platforms you're gonna use, you're not gonna spend any money. And you can do it from the comfort of your home, girl. You ain't got to dress up or put makeup on unless he want to FaceTime. And that's up to you if that's what you want to do. So yeah, just give it a try. It won't hurt.
Yes. Yeah. So someone said they had been reluctant to get online. So thanks for sharing. Yeah. And I think, as we were saying, because of the reason we're saying the thing about online is because statistically Black women are less likely to use online dating. And we've had so many, You hear they maximize the negative, but you don't hear a lot about the positive. And I actually have a lot of friends who have met online dating and married and been married for years. We
Mhm.
have some wisdom from Tony and Ursula. They've been married for a long time. They say when you're single, you must allow God to get you comfortable in your singleness before moving into the next phase. Once you are comfortable, He will change your energy to attract who God has for you. All right, preach, Tony and
Mhm.
Ursula. Those are
Yeah.
my friends. Good to see you guys. And then everyone said they're taking notes on Instagram and thank you. So
Okay.
that is it for us. I know it's longer than usual, right? But Instagram, y'all got 5 minutes and they're gonna cut y'all off. But everyone else,
Mhm.
we are wrapping up, but we wanted to have this conversation. I wanted to encourage my sisters that are out there that
Mhm.
are dating to keep dating, love yourself, love
Mhm.
God. And as Tony and Ursula mentioned, that He will attract who He has for you to you, whatever
Mhm.
way that is, online, in the grocery store, at the mall, doing
Mhm.
whatever activities you love to do. Um,
Right.
it will
Right.
happen. But before Instagram gets cut off,
Mhm.
Danielle, if you could say a prayer for all of the women and even the men, because I saw a few men on Instagram. Yes, and Tony and Ursula have been married 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats on that. That's huge.
I know,
Okay.
major.
All right. Well, let's bow our heads in a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, first, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our testimonies, Lord. Lord, I want to ask that all the women and the men stay encouraged and be encouraged and know that everything is possible with you, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
Let them know that it starts within, and Lord, that you're with them every step of the way. I pray that they have an amazing Saturday and an amazing Sunday, Lord. And I pray that they stay prayed up and know that they can do all things through you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Danielle, my sister, my bestie,
Yes,
uh,
bestie.
bestie in LA, my acting friend. I love you.
Love you.
Everyone's saying great job. They took notes. Connect with Danielle on social media. I'm not gonna let her
Yes.
get out here without getting that. You can follow her at Inspire Me Danny on
That's
Instagram.
it.
And then everyone click the subscribe button on YouTube on Simply
Please do.
Living. Subscribe and help the girl grow this YouTube page. If you're on
Absolutely.
YouTube watching, because some of y'all are, I see you,
Mhm.
then you need to go
Go
over
click
there
that
to
subscribe
Simply
button.
Lee and
Mhm.
subscribe. Okay.
Mhm.
Subscribe to her and my page. Okay. We're going to have
Absolutely.
content weekly coming for you. Danielle be on there all the time, but I'm going to be on there every week for sure. I'm going to be on there every week for
Right.
sure.
Well, if you need a little laugh and just need to relax, come on over there to Simply Living because that's what we doing. We simply living, but we making the most of what we got right now, okay?
Exactly. So they simply live in that's her YouTube page. And thank you guys. Next week we will be talking about sisterhood in her story. We will have none other than my friend Shirley Gore. She is very involved in the community with Women's History Month. Happy Women's History Month to everyone that is watching. So join us next week on Monday. That will be Monday. It's coming up fast at 7 p.m. Believe, yeah, 7 p.m. Don't get me to making up stuff. We'll go live. Love you all. Thank you and have a
Thank
happy,
you.
great weekend.
All right. Bye,
Bye
y'all.
bye.